Here it is. Here's the video where I'm going to tell you what I would have done in Arrow Season 3 instead. Now, here I am. I'm bearing my soul to the world. Yes. And as I said before, I am not a writer. I, I'm just a guy with ideas, alright? So please don't be too harsh on me here. This is just a framework for, like, actual writers to come in and go ahead and actually make something out of this. But I think this would work. This would work better than what we actually got, it also it incorporates more DC stuff. It incorporates more actual Green Arrow things, and I think it would work. But that's just my opinion. And I'm sorry if this is gonna sound a bit stilted, but I basically wrote all this down so as to not forget anything. So yeah, so if it looks like I'm reading off a friggin' teleprompter, I apologize if I just sound like a robot. Okay, so what I would have done instead. Okay, so first of all, we keep the first four episodes mostly the same. I say mostly, but actually, there is quite a bit of changes here. So, okay, first of all, Roy is not going to be full-blown Red Arrow Arsenal yet because that is fucking retarded. Duh! He has barely any training. There's no fucking reason for him to be going around flipping around, dressed up in red, looking like a complete asshole. It's just stupid. It's fucking dumb. It takes you out of the fucking show. Um, so instead, we're gonna keep him around. It's kind of as his role was a little bit in season two, where he was kind of Oliver's eyes and ears on the streets, and just leave him in that role for now. He can continue to do his training and stuff, and eventually one day we'll get him to the point where he's Red Arrow, not fucking Arsenal, because that's again fucking stupid. Um, and going back to this little thing I mentioned before, Diggle he'll still have that arc with the baby and all that stuff in the first episode, which I thought was good. Um, but like I said, missed opportunity. Oliver wants him Diggle off the team because now he has a baby, but it's later revealed that Oliver it's the same thing. Oliver has a kid too. So, you get some conflict, some drama there. That gives something Diggle to do for first few episodes, as he's wrestling with Oliver over this whole situation, gives him something to do. God forbid we give Diggle something to do on this fucking show. Um, so we're getting rid of Count Scarecrow. Um, Instead, Count Vertigo is going to keep the original Vertigo powers, or if you're going to insist on having a new formulation of Vertigo, then make it more like the actual comic book Vertigo powers and not fucking Scarecrow and trying to say it's fucking Count Vertigo or whatever the fuck. Um, a little bit of a change in how Sarah gets killed here. So what happens is Team Arrow, they're fighting Vertigo, and the idea is that Sarah's under attack. So, like I said, more drama as Sarah is fighting for her life as opposed to fucking Thea coming out of nowhere throwing arrows at her and killing her. I mean, come on, guys. So she's actually fighting for her life against whoever is killing her, trying to kill her. So in a second, she gets uh, like she's in the middle of fighting, and she actually gets a split second where she can make a phone call, and she calls up Oliver for help, but Oliver's in the middle of fighting Vertigo, so instead he's in the middle of battle too, so he just has the Lances go see what's up with Sarah or whatever. Um, and I guess I don't know, maybe the idea is that Sarah has some safe house that in Starling City or maybe she's at the clock tower or something, and the Lances would know to go there. Um, so sure enough, the Lances go to the clock tower and they find her dead. Um, there would be no Blue Iron Man because that's just fucking retarded. I mean, who asked for a fucking Blue Iron Man fucking arrow, huh? What the fuck? I mean, honestly, I don't know what else to do with Brandon Routh. I mean, sadly, give him something to do. I'd say have him be Damien Dark, but I mean, I like the guy that they actually did eventually cast for Damien Dark, so I don't know. But come up with something better for him to do. He deserves better than Blue Iron Man, DC's Blue Iron Man bullshit. Fuck you guys. I mean, seriously. Oh my god, I don't know who the fuck came up with that idea. Anyway, so um, the whole thing with Queen Industries and what's going on, it's not fucking important. I mean, just have maybe Oliver's stepdad like run the company, like what's left of the company. Maybe say something about Stellmore Industries trying to buy what's left and just leave it. Because remember that will come. That'll be important later. Don't use fucking Komodo for the love of God. Don't use Komodo yet. Save him for when you can do him justice. And so you still do the episode after Sarah's death where they think it's some Archer dude. But, just use some generic assassin character that you pulled out of your ass just for the show. Or make him another kind of assassin, mercenary type DC villain, like minor DC villain. Do that instead. Don't ruin fucking Komodo. In the third episode, have Mark Shaw, Manhunter there. Have him sell the Argus info to Hive. And not just some generic bad guys that are never named. Have it be Hive. Because we're going to do more with them later. Play in. I don't know why they didn't do it this way. Play the Merlin Thea relationship differently. Have Thea leave Starling willingly with Merlin at first during the season 2 finale and all that shit. But then, while she's in Corto Maltese, realize that fucking Merlin's a friggin' psychopath, right? Like, maybe she finds out somehow that Merlin has these, like, weird machinations of, like, going back to the Glades and making sure the job's done this time. And making sure that it's actually 100% destroyed. And so she realizes this, and then she plans to escape Merlin. So she tries to escape while she's in Coral Maltese, but Merlin's a motherfucking bamf. So he figures it out. He's onto her. So he roughs her up a little bit as she tries to escape, because he's a sick fuck. And he's all controlling and shit. And he wants her to turn out better than Tommy, and that she's not weak like Tommy was, and he's trying to mold her into this badass, and everything. You know what I mean? Do something like that. So, but when Oliver shows up in Corto Maltese and visits Thea, he lets Thea go with Oliver because he doesn't want to reveal himself to Oliver yet. And but before Thea leaves, he threatens Thea, like, I'm gonna keep my eye on you and all this shit, to screw with her, right? So obviously, here's the next big thing we're gonna change in these first 4 episodes. Have that 4th episode mostly the same. Keep it the same. Change that fucking god awful ending for the love of fuck. Fucking Fan Four Stick had a better ending than that fucking episode. Fucking no. Oliver doesn't just go full retard and just let fucking Merlin go. No. Oliver hands over Merlin to Argus. Duh! Duh! I mean, come on, change that. Why that ever stay in the script is beyond me. So, this is when we are finally introduced to Hive. After a few one name drop, really, and some allusions to them, this is where we're introduced to Hive. And they're kind of like the anti-Argus. They're introduced as like a group of, I mean, maybe not quote-unquote supervillains, but they're a group of people that are willing to do things that even Argus isn't willing to do. So they're kind of like, it's kind of playing, I'm guessing, see, this is just me spitballing. Maybe they're kind of playing with the idea they kind of did with Captain America, Winter Soldier, and Avengers 2, where, what is justice? Is justice, punishing people after they committed a crime, or is it, also being preemptive, like stopping bad things from happening? So these people are kind of like, they're kind of judge, jury, and executioner even before the crime's committed. You know, so in some ways, yeah, they are kind of stopping bad guys, but at the same time, they're also innocent people are getting caught in the crossfire. So maybe something like that. So anyway, they come into odds with Argus, obviously. So but of course that's what I said before, the big spiel about preemption and all that. That's just a cover for what they really do, which is they're really kind of like war profiteers. Like they intentionally incite conflicts in order to profit from ongoing profits, because each side's gonna need weapons and shit, right? And and not just with countries going to war for each other, but like terrorists. So a terrorist like Merlin, who Merlin he hires Hive as insurance, and this also explains how he was able to escape Starling City because he had Hive's help, and it also explains how he's been able to escape the League so far, and how he's kind of under the radar, and everyone thinks he's quote unquote dead, and how he still has money and resources and all this other stuff. So anyway, Merlin's in the Argus prison, and Hive leads an assault on the Argus prison, and of course, in this prison assault, they're charged with getting Merlin out of there, so thus they get Merlin out. And later in the season, they do this episode where they have, it's almost obligatory that they bring Deathstroke, Slade Wilson back, and the idea is he gets out of the Argus prison, and Oliver has to fight him. If you're gonna have to do an episode like that, this is where you would do it. You would make this the very next episode. Now, Team Arrow is going after Slade because they know he got out too. And for God's sakes, we'll get into this when I talk about the second half of the season. If you're gonna bring Slade back, have him do something worthwhile. Do something more with him than just be a villain of the week. I mean, even though, yeah, I guess he would still kind of be, but do maybe have some flashbacks focus on him, or make him like the main focus of the episode. Make it worth Manu Bennett's while to fucking be there, huh? So so now Nisa and Roz, they're mad at Oliver for letting Merlin escape because he didn't just up and kill him, because in that moment, Nisa, insisting that Oliver kill him. He says, no, I'm going to have him go to prison, face justice, whatever. And because Oliver insisted on that, Merlin got away. So that's what they're mad about. So they give Oliver a 48 deadline to figure out who the killer of Sarah is, right? And instead of generically saying, oh, well, we're going to destroy the city, because that doesn't make any fucking sense, because they're mad at Merlin for trying to destroy the fucking city. Just say they'll kill Team Arrow, they'll kill Felicity, they'll kill Laurel, they'll kill Diggle, whatever. Do that instead. Make it personal. Don't make it the big grandiose fucking, destroy the city. Not everything has to be about destroying the big fucking city, Sometimes, you just have to... It's almost like these people who make these things seem to they feel the need to up the ante all the time. Just maybe, just a threat to the character or the few people around them. Maybe that's just sufficient, guys. Maybe that's enough. You don't need to fucking destroy the city all the time. So just before the deadline, somehow, again, I'm just throwing ideas on the whiteboard. They gotta be filled in. They realized that Merlin was framed. So remember I mentioned that would have been a lot better. Merlin was framed. And they find out that Sarah had info on a plot by Sensei. See, remember him? Who's if you don't know, he's a member of he's the big leader within the League of Assassins who doesn't, his comic books history would suggest he doesn't get along with Ra's al Ghul. And he's part of a plot to kill Ra's al Ghul and seize control of the League by capturing the League's weapon totem. I'll keep that in mind. We'll get into that later.